Wow. Hey my friends, this is Late Boy Scout here. Some of you guys asked if I'd get out and give the CRKT Parasaw bracelet a try in the outdoors. So here it is. We're going to take this thing apart and see just how well it does. Now if this is the first time you've seen this bracelet, little information on it. Basically it's an improvement on the classic and standard paracord bracelet, the Cobra stitch there. Instead of just being wrapped around a little bit of extra paracord, it's actually wrapped around a core made up of a wire saw. So I'm going to open this thing up, I'm going to see how that saw works, and we'll just give this thing a run for its money. So this bracelet will open up about like any other paracord bracelet made with the same sort of stitching. If you can't get it with your fingernails, which I might be able to do, yep, got it started there. But if you couldn't get it done with your fingernails, it'd be nice to have a knife handy to be able to cut that open. But it looks like I got it undone without any extra tools. So let's go ahead and pull this apart and see what we have on the inside. The Parasaw does come in a few different sizes, so it'll fit your wrist no matter who you are. And depending on what size you get, you'll get a different amount of paracord. But I think no matter which size it is, you'll have a pretty adequate amount. So we've got this thing completely disassembled now. There's all my cord, and I'll detach that from the buckles here in a moment. Let's go ahead and open up the saw. We can see that it's actually wrapped up in a little bit of, looks like saran wrap or something like that, just to protect that from the elements, keep it from corroding. Pretty smart. I think the idea here is that, if you're stuck with nothing but the bracelet, can you still get some work done? Can you still get some survival work done? Well, we're going to test that idea here in a little bit. But it's good to know at least you don't need a knife to get into the bracelet. Oh, there we go. Okay. There's the saw. Let's see if we can get some work done with this. We're going to try to take it easy on the first go with this saw. So we're going to wrap it around this little branch that's maybe an inch and a half in diameter. Wow, that actually zipped through that really fast. Now this is a little bit of dead wood, so bear that in mind, but it tore through it very quickly. Let's try something a little bit more challenging. Let's try something somewhere in the neighborhood of what you might want for fire making or shelter building. This is probably 2 to 3 inches in diameter, and that'll certainly help me get a fire started if I can get into that, get the dry wood out of it. So let's see how this wire saw does against something this thick. We are through it, just like that. Pretty nice. Let's cut that bind, get that binding up in there. Tell you what though, this saw handles a lot more torque than I thought it would. So let's say the CRKT Parasaw actually is your only cutting tool. How would you go about splitting a piece of wood like this in order to prepare it for some fire? Well, here's one way that might work. Let's go ahead and try it. I know what you're thinking. He can't go all the way down that stalk of wood with that wire saw, can he? Well, if I had enough time and energy, I might be able to, but that's not what I'm going to try to do. What I am going to do is grab a rock. Here's one that's a little wet right now, unfortunately, but we'll pretend like it isn't for the purposes of this demonstration. I picked this up on the trail earlier. I feel like it's got a nice sharp wedge going on right here, which should help me to drive down into that notch that I created and split the piece of wood. In theory, this ought to work real well. In practice, we'll just find out. And there we go. So that's the beginnings of how you might process a little bit of firewood with just a wire saw. So here's all the cord I got out of that Ken Onion parasaw. So that's a pretty good yield from one paracord bracelet. And I'll play with this saw a little bit more today probably, but I gotta tell you, in the little bit of work I've done with it so far, this is surprisingly good and surprisingly capable for a little wire saw that fits into a paracord bracelet. So I gotta hand it to CRKT. Nice work, guys. You created something pretty cool here, and I really do think that it's a pretty smart paracord bracelet to pick up if you don't already have one, or if you want one that's designed with some real survival use in mind. There it is, guys. There's my little outdoor test of the Ken Onion and CRKT parasaw. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.